Do you think it's possible to be a successful person in the real estate, professional services industries? Is it possibly successful without a digital media plan?
No, I wouldn't say so, because here's what I always say. There's only two, when you're in real estate of any sort, whether you're an investor, a real estate agent, a broker, it doesn't matter what it is. You have to understand that. And I learned this from a good mentor of mine, Dean Graziosi, and he said, you know, the lifeline of all businesses is marketing, right? That is your oxygen. So you have to be marketing. And one thing that I learned early on is there's only two reasons that someone goes out of business, right? And if you're an entrepreneur, if you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, I don't care if you're drop shipping, I don't care if you have a podcast or whatever you might be doing. If you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to solve other problems and you're focused on innovation, right? Doing something a little bit different and making sure that you have your unique spin on it, there's only two reasons that you will go out of business. Number one is no one knows that you're in business. Right? Or number two is people forgot that you were in business because you did not stay top of mind. And so that was the big thing for me. Like when I first was getting into real estate, fortunately enough for me, I came up in this digital era, and we both did, right? I was one of the first people. I was at the University of Iowa in '05 when Facebook first released, right? So I had that college email, for anybody who can remember that, and that was how I got on a Facebook platform. And obviously it looked nothing like it does today. But I say that because I'm very fortunate in that. And any of us who are growing up in this era right now, or we would find ourselves saying that we're tech savvy, take advantage of it, because so many people, they're struggling with that, or maybe they just didn't grow up in it. So it's a huge adaptation for them. And so for me, one of the ways that I was able to grow my brand early on, when you think about real estate, they always say that it's listings to last in this business. You need a listing, right? Because your sign is out there and it's working for you 24 hours a day. Somebody comes home at 2 a.m. in the morning, they see your sign. They're leaving to take their kids to school at 8 a.m. in the morning, they see your sign, right? And then on top of that, you're going to get sign calls from buyers or whoever it might be, right? So everything is about your marketing. You're staying top of mind. So when I first got in, I didn't know anyone here in Omaha. So I was like, well, man, I don't have any listings. I don't know how to call up, for sale by owners or expireds or cancels, all these things that they tell you to do when you first get started. And none of those things were really that comfortable for me. Because what I knew that was comfortable for me was getting in front of people. So what I thought, I was like, okay, well, there's got to be a better way for me to do this. So what I started doing was I got buyers first, which take a lot more time. But the people who did buy with me, what I would do is I would take my sold sign to the closing, and they're all happy because they're closing on the house. And then I would have them take a picture with me and my sold sign. So that was the way. And then from there, I could then take that and market it on Facebook. I could run ads, or I could just even boost the post before I knew the difference between boosting and running an actual ad campaign. So all of these things allowed for the community to see me, and they were like, listen. And then, of course, my clients were really happy. So when I would make a post on Facebook, I would tag my clients because I told them up front, and then they would share and they would say, you were phenomenal. And hey, we did the home ownership thing today. Thank you to Casanova. And then I'm even boosting those posts, right? And like taking screenshots of it and boosting those. And then the community is like, listen, I don't know who this Casanova kid is, but he's selling everything, right? And then I tried to develop omnipresence before I really even knew what omnipresence was. And what that meant was I was posting it on Instagram, I was sharing it to Facebook, and then I was going to LinkedIn. And then when I got a little bit of time, I was going to Twitter, and I would just try to share all that stuff just to show that, hey, I knew at the end of the day, people like to do business with people who they perceive is already doing business, right? It's just, it's the way of how it works. Like it's tough, but when we think about it, when you first start up your pizza shop or whatever you're going to do, right? Back in the day, everybody would have these pizza shops or these local restaurants, and nobody would support it, right? You expect your friends, your family, they're going to be the first ones lined up at your doors buying pizzas every day. But the reality of it is that's not what happens, right? And what's the frustrating thing about it, but it's the truth, is your friends and families won't start supporting you until the strangers do. right? When I first grew my business, I'll be honest, it was not the people who I thought were going to buy houses from me or the people who were helping me. And so the reason why I think that I was able to do it is because the perceived notion was that Casanova was already doing business. Now, of course, I had to still go do the listing presentation. I had to still go do the buyer's presentation. But from there, what I figured out, and I got this from Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, I learned how to truly build rapport. I learned how to truly be more interested than trying to be interesting. And all of those things at the end of the day combined with my story, because we all have a story. We all have the unique ability of why we got into real estate or what makes us different from our competitors. We might say, oh, well, I'm kind of the same. You're not the same. Right? There's something that's about you of why you got in. There's some connection that you have with that person. It's your job to listen to them more than you talk to them and understand what that connection could be. And from there, it was, I feel like 85% of the time I was getting any presentation, whether it was a buyer or seller, and I was using my digital marketing to stay in the game.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you enjoyed this episode. I've got several other episodes right here for you. Smash one of these videos to make sure that you don't miss out on the tips, tools, and tactics of industry experts. Let's take that side hustle full time. Smash one of these links.